Shalom Aleichem Bochurim Tmimim. One of the most very famous words of the Rebbe, Sikha of the Rebbe, is the Maina that we give to the Ben Rasha in the Seder, that he's kicking and screaming and says, Ma ha'avodah zis lachem, doesn't feel part of it. So, in the Haggadah, we tell the Ben Rasha, Ilo haya sham loy haya nigal. If you were there, you weren't part of the Gula. You wouldn't go on a Golus, which the Pashtus means that Pirush Hamil is that we confirm that he's saying he has no Shlichus to Geula, to the Seder, and we tell him it's true. Ilo haya sham loy nigal. Everyone knows the words of the Rebbe. The Sikh is Chelik of the first Sikha. The Rebbe says there, and we tell him, Ilo haya sham lo haya nigal. If you were there, you wouldn't come out. But now, after Matan Torah, you are going to come out. How much you don't want to come out, and how much you're not interested, you're going to come out. Once Matan Torah happened, Anechi avaya lekecha, loshen yachid, each yachid, so you're coming out of Golus. V'atem to look to la'echad echad beis Yisrael. So how much is kicking and screaming and saying he has no shaykhis, he doesn't want to? No, that's what you feel. But you're going to come out of Golus, and you're going to be taken by hand by the Eibishter coming out of Golus. Each one, each yachid. And I think this is a important sikha to think about when we're speaking about our avodah and the chiddush of the Rebbe. You know, we feel, we don't feel, we want, we don't want, we're not sure how close we are, how strong our connection is. So, everyone's going to come out of Golus. Every Yachid. I mean, we saw by the Rebbe B'Muchash, if you let's put it in different oisius, in different words, what does this mean to us? How could we relate to us in practical words? One of the chidushim we saw by the Rebbe was that anyone who came in contact with the Rebbe made everyone feel that every person, you have a special shlichus, you have a special purpose, you have a tafkid that only you and only you could accomplish. And which means I know you, I know your matziv, I know your situation, I know your miles, I know your chesronis, and there's something special that only you could do. You have your personal shlichus that's demanded from you. And it doesn't matter, just like a Matan Torah, it doesn't matter how big, we're speaking about Gilia Atmos and Dira B'Tachteinim and the biggest things in the Alyani Yeret Lamata, but like the Rebbe brings from the Medrash, every Yid felt Anechi Avaya Lekecha Loshen Yachid, Imi hadibur medaber. He's talking to me. It's not he wants from all the Yidden to keep Shabbos, to put on film. He's telling this Yid, I know you and I want you to do it. And something we saw the Muchash by the Rebbe, this Nekuda, very, very clear. That how much, the Rebbe was speaking about, starting from the beginning, from Lahirid HaShechina Lamata Ba'aretz, and Dira B'Tachteinim, and Ibeker and develop and change the world. But starting from the first Maimer, the stories that the Rebbe gave them was stories of every Yachid matters. Every individual has his shlichus and he could accomplish. Every Yachid befrat. I'm sure you know the story with, it's a famous story with Rabbi Dr. Jonathan Sachs, that he says the story. He said about Knesset Shluchim, he said it, that he was a teenager or that he had questions. He was in Oxford University, and he came to the Rebbe to ask his questions. And after the Rebbe answered the questions, the Rebbe asked him, and how many Jewish students are there, and what are you doing for the Jewish students in Cambridge? He says, what am I doing? I have questions. I'm a shvacha person. He says, no. What are you doing? You have a shlichus. What are you doing for the job that I'm giving you? You personally have a job. The Rebbe says, what's Perek Mamalev Tanya? What's Perek Mamalev? From one hand, You have to zoom out. A person is very, very small. The whole world is very, very small. All the elements are very, very small. The Eibusher is very, very big. And Kulei Kamei Kalach Chashiv, and we're very, very, very small. We have to zoom out from ourselves. And then after we come to the highest Madrega where nothing matters there, Kulei Kamei Kalach Chashiv, zoom back in on Allah Befrat. This big, big Eibusher wants something from you. You can make a difference. I'm leaning on you. This big, big thing of Lahered Ashchina Lamata Ba'aretz, to bring Mashiach, to change the world, this Yachid matters. People say, everyone who went on Yeshivas to the Rebbe, that did the Rebbe did amazing things and big things and worries for the world. But that Yid felt, that Bochur felt, and Yeshivas then, right now, there's nothing but the Rebbe besides you. The idea of the koyach, the importance, the tafkid, the shlichus of the prat. So I think when a bacher wants to feel a shaychus, wants to feel close, and he's not sure, he feels close, all the questions or sfeikas that he has, there's a very simple way to be mechazik our kasher. We have to ask ourselves not how I feel about it, not what I understand about it, but what does the Rebbe want from me? What's the shlichus he gave me? Like the Rebbe spoke in Gimmel Shvat, Tafshin Yud Aleph, the first Fabrengen after Yud Shvat, that's actually the Ksav Yad, this is printed. The Rebbe wrote this, and the Fabrengen is printed in Teres Menachem, Tafshin Aleph, in the beginning. I'm going to quote. The Rebbe says there, our inyan is not to accomplish great things and big things. That's not our inyan. Of our shlichus, our neshama in this world. Besides that, it's a suffix if you're going to accomplish great things. But what do you need great things if you're not doing the shlichus of the hashgacha aliyena that was put on you? In simple words, the Rebbe says, what do you need? What's toigim? What do you need? Gdelos v'nefloyos, and what kind of greatness it is if I'm not doing what the Eibishter hat übergegeben, the Eibishter gave over through avodah hatzadikim that you should do and accomplish. So that's the question. Am I doing the shlichus that was given over from the Eibishter through avodah hatzadikim? And this is a thing that was very clear by the Rebbe. Whoever came in contact with the Rebbe felt this, and maybe you could say, if you want to feel the Rebbe, you think about this. Was will the Rebbe for me? What does the Rebbe want from me? What's my shlichus? What's my tafkid? And then suddenly you feel that there's something that I could accomplish this nekuda. And here it doesn't matter many years, v'chulu, because the Rebbe spoke, the nikud of Zari B'chayim, Tafshin Chav Gimel, Yuchvad, the Rebbe spoke, Zari B'chayim means how that, Amol, the later, the further it is, the later the years, as a small kernel becomes a beautiful tree, and the further the years is, the better the tree it is. The more, so in other words, what is the Rebbe saying? The Rebbe is expecting better Bochurim, better Chasidim, because more has to be accomplished. In other words, this that the Rebbe is demanding from us, and each one can ask the question and answer what's demanded from me. It's not because he wants to make you crazy, like the Rebbe spoke in that Fabrengen, because he sees in you oitzrus, he sees in you treasures, he sees in you tremendous things that you don't see in yourself. And that's why he's asking from you and demanding from you something special to do. Just like Jonathan Sachs, he says, eventually became the chief rabbi. I think he would never imagine. But from that question, he answered the Rebbe, what am I doing? So that brought the things he would never imagine he would be. So the Rebbe says in that Sicha in Chav Gimel, Yuchvat, that the Rebbe sees oitzis in a person. And he wants to bring out those treasures. He wants to pick you up at that madrega. Like the Rebbe says there, you wake up in the morning, you say, Moida Ani, that I have a chelik alakami mal, given from you, from Elakami Mal Mamish, given from the Eibusher himself. And why is he giving it to you? And you have no choice in that. You have no choice in that shlichus. We have no choice in that. It's Melech Chai V'Kayim. He's the king, he gave it to you. Why? He wants to make you crazy? He wants to make your life hard? No. Bechemela. He has Rachmanas on us. He wants to give us all good, even Begashmias. I think it was once the Rebbe and Rav Shlomo Zalman Hecht. So Amol the day of the Chasana, so the Chasan used to wait before Mincha, and the Rebbe used to give the Chasan Hasidah to daven Mincha, say Al Chet, and the families were there, and the Rebbe used to give a bracha sometimes. So actually, when the Rebbe finished, so she, the wife of Shlomo Zalman Hecht, that's I heard the story. She started giving the Rebbe brachas. And she started saying a lot of things, brachas to the Rebbe, and then she told the Rebbe should have nachas from Klal Yisrael. The Rebbe turned around, the Rebbe was going into the room, and the Rebbe says, Onufun Prat Yisrael. Every individual. That's what the thing was. What does the Rebbe want from me? And in this tafkid, everyone has it. Everyone has it. But I think especially what the chiddush by Bochurim is that it's zari b'chayim. The Rebbe spoke in the Chav Gimmel. It could be without. We believe this. We know it's true. We understand this. But the question is, do we live with it? Do you have a chayis in it? Do you have a geschmack in it? Zari b'chayim. It shouldn't just be an eifin that we believe in, that we know it's true, and we tiyetza zayin. We should live with it. Means is that we're interested in it. It gives us a geschmack. We wake up with a chayas. We want to do it, and that each one of us has to figure out zare b'chayim how we can have a chayas in this. And just like and if we don't have a chayas, if we're missing chayas, and we're living in a hard time. But it's like a car. It's like your car is not working. You have a new car. A good engine. So either you have to change the tires or the liquids or some different fluids, v'chulu. Something is wrong why I'm not having a chayas. A bocher could have a chayas. So we're standing now. Erev Matan Torah. Shleish Yimim with Gimmel Tammuz. Which be'etzim is not two separate things. What's Matan Torah? Matan Torah is the Eibush said, Al Yenim Yedul Amata. He gave the purpose. The Eibush said, life is not a joke. You have a purpose in this world. You're atachten, you're very, very low. You can accomplish amazing things. And the more you're atachten, the more you feel far, you have a shaykhs to the highest, the Atzmos. But Matan Torah was Ma'il. What does the Rebbe want? The Rebbe wants a practical Matan Torah. The Rebbe wants, you should live with it. It should be in his gala in the whole world. Everyone should feel imi adibur medaber. That's the Rebbe wants. It should become a practical thing. We should live there. The whole world should be that way. But this tafkid everyone has. But for a Bochurim, they can live with it. How do Bochurim do it? So by Bochurim echlose through Chassid Yirah Shamayim London. Each one what it means of Pratius. Chassidus, davening, limud Torah, Yirah Shamayim. Learning in Yoni Gula Mashiach, living with Mashiach. It should be our life. And we have to know that we're coming to this time now, something more is required. Vitzadi B'chayim means is, if we're dealing with a legacy, Bochurim, a legacy means that the further you go away, the further you are from it. If we're dealing with a mission, we're closer to the mission ever than before. We're closer to the mission. It's more relevant. It's more powerful. It's more practical than ever before. That's what a mission means. The mission is lahavi lamesa Mashiach. Ara bringing a lakus lamata ba'aret. And each yachid matters in this. And we have to ask ourselves now. And everyone is leaning on us. All the datas are leaning on us. Everything is leaning on us. We're the maked bepadish, like the Rebbe says. We're the last thing that has to happen. So, start having a general chayt. We have to think one area where Be'poel mamish I'm going to add in this. If I'm not sure what's going to give me a chayas, speak to your Rav. You should be able to media to the Rebbe in the right time. After a month of doing it, I did it. And Be'ezer Hashem will able to be media before this. Like the Rebbe said in Ve'era, Nun Beis, the Rebbe said that the Yisiyadiyah, that the Frierdiker Rebbe comes in and looks on each chassid and mekusher to check his Maimad Masiv, that in itself is ma'oder to be Messiah and Mashlim Maseinu V'Avodaseinu. So bottom line is, what the Rebbe is saying is, No Jew be left behind. And by us Bochrim, it has to be no Bochur be left behind. Prata Bochrim. Another Bochur, help him out. And then we'll mal the Shlichus and we'll be Zeiche. Everyone should be gesund and stark. And we should mal the Tafkid to bringen Mashiach in Dol Lamata. Seid gesund. Ba'atzloch Rabbi Muflaga.